Over 20 years ago, Osama bin Laden made a letter to America, but now, Chinese-owned TikTok suddenly decided to make it trend today.
So, go read it.
Please read that entire letter.
I need everyone to stop what they're doing right now and go read. It's literally 2 pages.
This has left me very disillusioned.
Let me know if you are also going through an existential crisis in this very moment.
Because I feel like I'm going through like an existential crisis right now.
And those acts committed against the USA and its people were all just the buildup of our government failing other nations.
It is just insane because this letter is so well written and so reasonably structured. Like, everything he said was valid.
It's almost like these people don't realize that this happened to us. This is just peak insanity that social media can somehow convince these socialist types to suddenly simp for Osama bin Laden. Because it wasn't like a precision attack on the people in power that do bad things. No, any one of these people on TikTok could have been working in a building or taking a flight that day, and somehow a Chinese social media algorithm has convinced them that if they were caught in the crossfire, that's okay, he had a reason. As they're referencing this letter from The Guardian from over 20 years ago that has now been deleted. Now this letter is very long and I don't really know how carefully these people read it, but since it opens up with the same verbiage that we're currently seeing from the left today, where Osama was going after the same people and country that they are now, he wrote about the mistreatment of his people by America. Now let's be clear, America just this week welcomed a certain Chinese leader that is doing awful things to those same people. Our country went to great lengths to ensure his protection during his visit, and he was given what looks like a hero's welcome in our country. But on Chinese-run TikTok, are any of these social justice activists shrieking about the current mistreatment of those same people? No. And it has nothing to do with China not occupying their land or some outlandish morals or justifications. It's just because they weren't told to be outraged. And if it's not trending on TikTok, they can't get any social media points for it, so of course that suffering will mean nothing to them. But what's even crazier to me is the same people that demanded Kanye West to be removed from society are now saying scarily similar things to Kanye now. The reality didn't change, just social media's perception of it did. And a foreign computer algorithm teaching our citizens what is right and wrong is a terrifying thought. But back to his letter from 2002. He had several calls for people to come to his very conservative religion, where he denounces several of the major pillars of the modern-day liberal. It's just convenient how they ignored that part of the letter just because he opened up with America bad and some keywords they like. This is a letter from a terrorist. It's not Chex Mix. You can't just throw out the parts you don't like. But somehow they all sympathize with Osama because they live in the carefully curated social media bubble that is TikTok. Because over on Twitter, or X.com, bin Laden is trending alongside the Taylor Swift tour, but people call out that these TikTok types are just anti-America no matter what, how the platform is just used to propagandize the American left, and how he was once an asset of the US, so they're oddly coming full circle and rooting for America. Now I'm not going to go too far down the path of tinfoil hat theories, but I truly wonder how malleable people's minds are when locked in a closed loop. The same thing with TikTok all pushing people to one side of the discussion. Twitter's more open approach to online interaction seems to always pull people to the other side of that discussion. It's almost like certain ideas can only exist through censorship and algorithmic manipulation, because others are now saying this has to be on purpose, saying China is using this application against us, calling for TikTok to be banned in the US, with the majority of people supporting the idea. Now, although I dislike TikTok, I'm always 100% against limiting speech. TikTok can push some stupid stuff, so we should be able to see it and call it out. If these people are simple enough to be swayed by performative activism, why not give them a platform to broadcast who they really are? And keep in mind, last time the US tried to ban TikTok, they tried adding in all sorts of terrible things that would limit our speech, all under the umbrella of China bad. And although I do understand how some people are just trying to point out that America does bad things too, and I agree that we have a very shady history, it's just not to the point that I would sympathize with people that want to eliminate me and my loved ones just because they're angry at the leaders that I didn't even vote for. I just think that they've managed to make it so trendy to cry about victimhood that TikTokers will actually beg to become one. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status of today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how activists in Atlanta are protesting behind a mosquito.